Hey everybody, welcome to the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Johnstone, and we are here with Vince Queen. So you know it's going to be a good episode. Vince, how you doing?
Outstanding, man. Outstanding, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. All right. Well, you've been dropping some knowledge bombs inside the membership, and I wanted to chat with you about it. So yesterday we had a conversation about artificial intelligence,
Yes.
and you were on the way to do. Well, why don't you tell the story?
Well, I'm in the Washington D.C. area, so I was on my way over to Southwest Washington D.C. and somebody asked me to be on their podcast, and
Nice.
so I said, "Well, gladly." So I decided I'd go, but they said, "Now," I said, "Well, what do you want me to talk about?" They said, "Hey, listen, I need for you to talk about the tax benefits and how it applies to real estate and mortgages." I said, "Wow, okay, I think I can do that." I get in my car and I'm going along the way and I'm going, uh-oh. So what do I do? So I start talking to ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
I say, ChatGPT, this is what I'm thinking about today. Now, by the way, I not only ChatGPT, but I also have Bing,
Yep.
which is the co-pilot as well. So it's all AI as far as I'm concerned. So I'm talking into this and I'm saying, hey, look, this is my idea. This is what I'm thinking about doing. I'm having a meeting. I'm going to be on a podcast. I need to talk about tax benefits as it relates to real estate. And I need to be in a position to be able to share that information in a number of different ways. Here's a couple of topics that I'm thinking about. Tell me what you're thinking about. So I say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking REITs. I'm thinking about 1031 exchanges. I'm thinking about investment properties. What are you thinking about? Next thing I know, man, this thing hits me back and goes, hey, Vince, those are good topics, but I got a few more. I said, well, tell me about it. Starts just ripping it off, just one thing after another after another. And before I know it, the next thing I know, he goes, so what do you think of that, Vince? And I go, man, I think that's pretty cool, man. Can you expound on these two other things a little bit more? He says, sure, I can tell you a little bit more. Let me tell you a little bit more about REITs. I said, well, so what are their values? This thing starts telling me, you know what? They're very valuable. And so it just starts ripping off more stuff about REITs and how the audience will really take into it. And because there are a number of different tax benefits involved with it. And it just went on and on and on. And then it goes, Vince, what do you think of that? I said, man, that's brilliant. I said, you think you can put all that in writing for me? So by the time I get down to the show, that I'll be prepared and I'll have some notes and things to talk about. Man, you betcha. I mean, this is the conversation that we're having. And so I said, I went back and forth. I said, let me wait a minute before you do that. I need to add one more thing. Tell me a little bit more about investment properties, and what are the tax benefits to that? Even more. I need you to expound on it. This is the kind of conversation that I'm having while I'm driving, and I wouldn't recommend everybody do that. But while I'm driving, and as I do this, I put a whole presentation together
That is
that I use
amazing.
on the podcast, and even Chat GPT. Well, by the way, I call him Slick. Slick says to me, he says, Vince, he says, look, man, I want to add one more thing. What do you think of it? And he told me what it was. I said, man, that's brilliant.
Hmm.
Why don't you just put it in there with the rest of the stuff? He says, man, you can, no problem. And before it was all said and done, I had my whole outline. I had my 5, 6 topics to talk about, things that I could bring up during the conversation. And I did all that in a matter of 20 minutes. And I can't tell you, when I walked in there, my confidence level was at a place where you wouldn't believe. And
Hmm.
that was all with AI.
That is amazing.
That's real time stuff. So,
Yep.
the stuff that you've been sharing with us, I was afraid to tell to try it. It's true. But this has been, it's been a constant epiphany. It
Hmm.
just really has. It's unbelievable what this thing will allow you to do, and in a short period of time,
Yeah.
and put you in the right frame of mind to
Hmm.
do just about anything.
Yeah.
Um, I need to tell you this. Another thing that I did, I'm trying to do podcasts and that sort of stuff, and
Yes.
it's a Zoom call, and really, it's a good tool for anybody that's listening to this. It's a great tool to set up meetings as a part of the DSP.
Yes.
Think about it. As I thought about it more and more, I said, what a way to take the shroud off of people and
Yep.
get them to open up and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that and you push a record button and you get them to talk about themselves, because that's the number one topic, man, I tell you what, it's really helped me. And so anyway,
So hold
when
on, let's unpack that just a little bit, Vince.
okay, okay.
So you've got a qualified list of real estate agents,
Yeah,
and you pulled those out of the CRM, right?
yeah,
Okay. You're reaching out to the qualified agents and you're saying, "Hey, I'd like to feature you on my podcast."
absolutely. And that's because of your brilliance. You guys put into to my CRM not only the red stuff, but you guys put an email together saying, "Hey, podcast request." I said, "Well, I'm going to fly with this." So when I call, I'll just real quickly, if you don't mind. When
Please.
I call, I go, "Hey, this is Vince. Hey, Chris, this is Vince over at Success Mortgage Partners, man. Hey, man, thanks for picking up the phone. I really appreciate your time. I only got look. I just need 30 seconds. Man, looked you up and read her. Discovered that you were, you're like in the top 5% of the agents in the Washington D.C. area, man. Congratulations. Hey, I got to tell you something. I'm following up on an email that we sent to you in reference to, being on a podcast. You know what? I do a podcast, and I'd love to have you on it with such terrific numbers that you have. I'd love for you to come on and just tell us about what are you doing to be so successful about, in the real estate business. I mean, your numbers are just outstanding, and I'd love for you to come on and talk to folks and give them some insights on how they can be better at what they do.
Mm.
What do you think about that, Chris? Usually I'll get I'll go, yeah, well, I might have some interest in that. I said, okay, man, look, here's 2 days. You know what? 2 days next week, which day is better for you? I can usually lock it down. Some days I don't. Sometimes what they'll end up doing is they'll end up, hey, well, can you send me something, man, that I can look at to see what you've already done? Thank God I'm up to about 6 shows now. So I've got some content. So, but my point is that because we put that you guys put that in and you sent out an email to the qualified agent list
Mm-hmm.
that we got from Redder. It gives me a conversation to have. And so I'm going to say this, out of every 6 to 8 calls that I make, I'll get 2 people that show some interest.
Wow.
Now that's
That's
pretty
amazing.
good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
out of that, how many actually show up to the podcast?
Um, with the ones that say yes to it after I
Yeah,
follow up and I send them stuff and do all that kind of stuff, um, every one of them shows up.
that's amazing.
So figure this much. If I get 2 people that say yes, hey, I'm interested, send me something. All right, good. I have to follow up, and that's okay because guess what happened? Because of the DSP, because of what I was trying to do, because I'm trying to set up an appointment, we had a conversation.
Yeah.
So with that conversation, now I follow up, I send them something, then I give them another call.
Yep.
Hey, did you get the info I sent you, Chris? Hey, what did you think of that? What did you think of the short video that I sent over to you? Did you like Robin? Did you like what she was talking about? Yeah, yeah, I did. I did. Hey, what do we have to do to get you on the show?
Mm-hmm.
And so, out of the two, right now I've got about a 50% closing ratio.
Wow.
So one out of the two locks in, and you just got to talk to more people.
Yep.
So one out of two locks in. Once one out of two locks in, then I'm good with that. I'm on to making more calls. So yeah, so it's about a 50% closing ratio for every two,
That's
and I'm
amazing.
okay with that. Like I said, in three to 4 weeks, I'm up to 6 podcasts,
Wow.
and that I've done and completed. And the other thing that I've done is that I've spread out my audience too, not only qualified agents,
Right.
but yesterday I did a guy from an insurance company.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, but I have a meeting next week, next Wednesday, I think, with a guy that's doing. He's a title company.
Yep.
I'm going to have him on. I want to talk to him. So this helps me to deepen my relationships with people that are involved with real estate.
That's
And
right.
so this automation, man, this stuff that you're doing here, man, with the podcast, and I mean, that stuff that you guys put in the email and all that, all it did was trigger something in me, man, that I said, you know what? I can still follow the DSP.
Oh yeah.
I can still follow it, but this allows me to get in front of more people and have, you know what? I'm bringing some value to them. I mean,
That's
think
right.
about it, man. You know what? I'm going to open up your marketing. I'm going
Yep.
to help you market more stuff. You know what? One of the things I do is I give them a copy of the podcast that we did. All
Yep.
right, I give them some short videos that they can use, and as a result of that, I said, you know what? You can put this on your website.
Hmm.
Man, people get stoked about that. I mean, they really do. They get stoked. And
And
and so far, and guess what it's about to do? It's opening doors up because I've had a conversation where the shroud has been taken off of someone.
hmm
And now, we're talking about doing business together.
that's right. It's Did I hear you right? You've done 6 episodes in
Yeah,
4 weeks.
I just my editor, who's my daughter in college, um, she has edited episode number 6. She's editing it right now.
So you've
So
had 6 top producing agents on your podcast in the first month of
I've
starting to
had
reach
I've
out.
had I've had three top producing agents. I've had one insurance guy.
Oh
I've
no.
had I've had a graduate, not a graduate. I have had a person that I helped them buy their first house and their second house.
Yep.
I had them on to talk about what it was like to be a first time home buyer.
Oh yes.
Okay. And I have 2 more top producing agents that are going to be on the show next week. One did 32 million. The other one did 28. Um, I've got another one. The ones that I've done, the 3 other ones that I've done, nobody's done less than 28 million.
That is amazing, Vince. That is awesome. Are
And
you taking?
and and one of them, 2 of them are listing agents.
Oh man, that is just awesome, Vince. That is amazing. Congratulations, man.
Well,
You're doing it.
hey man, you guys are helpful. Um, by putting that content in there, man, in the CRM, it really is a blueprint. Just follow that, and
Mm.
guess what? That's your conversation for that day. For every agent you talk to,
Yeah,
you guys have other stuff that you put in there, networking and some other things. But the podcast thing, man, it's got juice,
that's
and
awesome.
I love the juice in it, man. It really does, man. So
And
it does.
the thing that I love about it is with the mortgage marketing animals, the script works, but when you're through the list a second time and a third time, sometimes it's nice to just pull something else different out of the
Yes,
toolkit
man.
to have the conversation about. Now, are you taking those long form episodes and are you publishing that on YouTube?
Yes,
Good. Okay.
I'm taking the short videos. After they've had a chance to see them, I'm taking the short videos and I'm posting it on. And my short videos are like 2 minutes long, but they're
Yep.
going on LinkedIn.
Yep.
They're going on uh, Instagram.
Yep.
I got them going on Facebook.
Nice.
A lot of the shorts. So, hey, look, I didn't know anything about all this stuff. I got a smart daughter, but uh, I tell you, I'm taking it because I'm selling that. That's what I'm selling. You know
Hmm.
what? I'm going to help you. I want you to tell us how awesome you are, and then I'm going to help you market yourself even more, and
Yep.
I'm going to help you get more business.
Yep.
How
Just
could you say
another
no?
offer.
How could you? I keep throwing I keep throwing value at you. So I
Hmm.
mean, what could you say, man? You're going to help me market, just Chris. I'm going to help you market even more. So you're already awesome. But
Yeah.
if I throw something else out there for you, man, that's going to bring you value, would you be open to it?
Hmm. Yep. And
So
that conversation about the digital brand, everybody needs it. Our customers are researching us online. And when they see you, Vince, interviewing top producers in the local marketplace, you're doing it because you want the relationship with the qualified real estate agent,
that's
but
right.
you're stacking content
That's right.
where people get a referral with your name. They go research your name and it's like, oh wow, he's doing top producer interviews. He's
That's
look at
right.
all this content.
That's
You're
right.
leading with the educational. It's just amazing. Just congratulations, Vince.
Hey, man. I've just picked up on stuff that you guys had. Like I said, man, this is an epiphany to me.
Mm,
I'm an old school sales guy, and with this stuff here, man, it's got value. It's got it's an easy way to have a conversation with people, and
yeah.
and I think I read in How to Win Friends and Influence People. He says, become totally interested in the other person,
Mm.
and
Podcast is a great place to do that.
that's exactly right. And you know what? And if you're interested in the other person, there's another there's another kind of quote or something in there that goes, be interested, genuinely interested in the other person. As a result of that, ask them questions that are courteous and considerate.
Hmm.
So think about that. So if you become more interested in the other person, the only kinds of questions that you can ask can be courteous and considerate because you're talking about something. Because you're saying to them, so you're also saying to them, I'm really hearing everything that you're telling me, and I really want to know more. So
That's
I'm listening. So
So, Vince, you just gave me some prompting to mess with because ChatGPT spits out the questions for the interviews,
that's
right?
right.
So I want courteous. That is all right, cool. We got some new
Hey, hey,
prompting to mess.
hey, one other thing I'm gonna tell you. The
Yes.
all the podcast questions and stuff, because people were saying to me, the realtors were like, well, give me some questions that you're gonna have. I said, okay,
Mm,
cool. Man, I went in there and talked on ChatGPT. I said, man, I need some questions for a podcast for realtors. And what kind of questions would you ask him? We went back and forth in this dialogue. And before I knew it, it printed them all out.
yeah.
So
Amazing.
I did the same thing for the insurance guy. I did the same thing for my first time home buyer. I said, hey, here's some questions that I might ask you so you can feel more comfortable when we speak.
Yep.
That that that's all from AI.
Yep. Amazing. All right, Vince, thank you for being so generous with your time.
Thank you, man.
Where do people go to find out more about you?
Actually, you know what? You can look me up on. Hey, well, you know what? If you're interested, you can go to my podcast and go. It's called Keys to the Market. You can go to
Okay.
YouTube and check that out. Hashtag Keys to the Market. Hashtag Vince Queen. You can see some of the content, some of the stuff that we're doing. In addition to that, hey, look, I work for Success Mortgage Partners, and you can always find me at bqueen at successmortgagepartners.com. Um, you can look me up online at Success Mortgage Partners. You'll find me there. Uh, Lending is what I do, but you know what? I do more caring than I do lending, and as a result, I do more lending.
Yeah.
So um, that's who I am. Hey man, feel free to look me up on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on every social media platform. Although I know absolutely nothing about them, I'm learning more because I'm hanging out with Chris. So that's the truth, man. But that's how you can find me, man. I appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm very grateful, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your knowledge. I'm grateful for the content. I'm grateful for all the stuff you've given me, man. So I appreciate you.
That is awesome. Well, right back at you, Vince. I appreciate you too. To all of our listeners, thank you for listening. Vince, thank you again for being on the show, and we will see you in the next episode.